Welcome to Creativity and Problem Resolving. Today, we will present the top 10 best gaming laptops 2017, top gaming notebook reviews. 10. MSI GP72VRX Leopard Pro. CPU, Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, 6GB GDDR5, RAM, 16GB, screen, 17.3-inch FHD screen, 1920x1080, 120Hz, 5 milliseconds, wide viewing angle, storage, 512GB NVMe M.2 SATA SSD. Price, $1,451.92. Positive points, responsive 120Hz screen and loaded with brand name parts. Negative points, short battery life and noticeably loud fans. In case you don't need the intense graphics hardware of the HP Omen 17, but you still want the massive, 17-inch display, the MSI GP72VRX is exactly the gaming laptop for you. This notebook comes tricked out in only one configuration, but it's a very good one meant for mid-range gaming and especially VR support. Fans of subtlety will appreciate the minimalism of the GP72VRX. While it does bear the trademark MSI Dragon Shield branding and an RGB keyboard, everything else is kept relatively low profile. The 120Hz refresh rate on its 4K display would be a handy additive, but alas, the GTX 1060 isn't quite up to snuff. 9. HP Omen 17. CPU, 6th Gen Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070, 8GB GDDR5. Intel HD Graphics 530, RAM, 16GB DDR4, screen, 17.3-inch 4K, 3840x2160 IPS with G-Sync, storage, 1TB-2TB HDD, 128GB SSD. Price, $1,184.99. Positive points, affordable price and 4K G-Sync display. Negative points, plastic Y build and large physical size. Like the GameCube of laptops, the HP Omen 17 has the build quality of a children's toy. However, when you see what it can do, you'll wonder why it didn't cost more. At £7, you'll have to forgive the weight of the HP Omen 17 if you want to benefit from its 17-inch Quad HD display. Of course, although the GTX 1070 is more of a 1440p performer than a 4K one, you can still expect a consistent 30 FPS in games like The Division at the highest graphical settings. Overall, the HP Omen 17 is HP's Gigabyte P57X equivalent, but with Bang & Olufsen speakers that might tip you over the edge. 8. Dell Inspiron 15 Gaming. CPU, Intel Core i5, i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050-1050Ti, RAM, 8GB - 16GB, screen, 15.6-inch, FHD 1920x1080, UHD 3840x2160 anti-glare LED backlit, storage, 1TB SSHD 8GB - 1TB HDD, 128GB SSD. Price, $870.51. Positive points, stellar battery life and ports for days. Negative points, trackpad is touchy and screen is lacking. In a world full of overpriced gaming laptops with internals that overcompensate for their underqualified screen resolutions and short-lived batteries, the Dell Inspiron 15 Gaming is a breath of fresh air. Ditching the Alienware moniker for something a little more mainstream, Dell has crafted yet another gaming PC masked as a productivity machine. Following in the footsteps of the Dell XPS Tower Special Edition, the Inspiron 15 is a gaming computer you wouldn't be embarrassed to use in public. From the outside looking in, the Dell Inspiron 15 Gaming is a class act. Better yet, it's relatively powerful, long-lasting and, come to think of it, pretty damn affordable too. 7. Alienware 17R4. CPU, Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, 2GB GDDR5, GTX 1080, 8GB GDDR5, RAM, 8GB-32GB, screen, 17.3-inch, FHD, 1920x1080 UHD, 3840x2160 IPS anti-glare 300 nits, storage, 128GB SSD, 1TB HDD, 2TB SSD, 1TB HDD. Price, $1,599.99. Positive points, wildly powerful and swanky looks. Negative points, obnoxiously loud fans and so-so battery life. To be frank, Alienware hasn't been a name typically associated with value. It seems to be changing with the Alienware 17R4, which bears so many different customization options when it comes to specs that you can practically name your own price. Bespeckled with all of the signature elements we've come to expect from the brand, such as RGB backlit accents and tons of ventilation, our only real qualm with the Alienware 17R4 is a battery life that disappoints for on-the-go gaming. 6. Gigabyte Aero 14. CPU, Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, 6GB GDDR5, RAM, 16GB-32GB, screen, 14-inch, QHD 2560x1440 anti-glare IPS, storage, 512GB-1TB SSD. Price, $1,399. Positive points, lightweight and thin design and competitively priced. Negative points, battery life under-delivers and loaded with bloatware. Donning a 7th generation Intel Core i7 processor, NVIDIA Pascal series GPU and a screen resolution that soars above 1080p, this laptop is more affordable than the comparably spec'd Razer Blade or Alienware 13R3. At the same time, it neglects to compromise in terms of portability and performance. This is a laptop, for instance, that weighs a mere 4.17 pounds, 1.89 kilograms, and measures in at 0.78 inches thin, undeniably a feat for a gaming machine. Factor in the 3-hour and 38-minute PCMark8 battery test and 190-degree hinge, and it's easy to see why the Gigabyte Aero 14 made the cut. 5. Razer Blade Pro. CPU, Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080, 8GB GDDR5, RAM, 32GB, screen, 17.3-inch, UHD, 3840x2160 IGZO touchscreen with G-Sync, storage, 512GB-2TB PCIe SSD. Price, $3,999.99. Positive points, starboard trackpad placement and a desktop experience you can finally carry. Negative points, off-putting price and less than 5 hours of battery life. At long last, Razer has introduced a laptop that can not only replace your desktop, but do so without packing on more weight than most large laptops. It's expensive, yes. It certainly won't save you money when compared to building your own PC. On the other hand, it measures in at only 0.88 inches thick with an onboard 17-inch, 4K multi-touch display and a built-in Wi-Fi card. If that's not enough to sell you on it already, the Razer Blade Pro also introduces the company's ultra-low-profile mechanical switches to a notebook for the first time ever. These keys bear an appearance similar to your run-of-the-mill chiclet keyboards, but press down on them yourself and you'll feel, and hear, the authentic click of a mechanical key switch. It's an experience bettered only by its unusual trackpad placement, which feels so natural for gaming that you'll wonder why it wasn't there to begin with. 4. Alienware 13R3. CPU, Intel Core i5, i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, RAM, 8GB-16GB DDR4, screen, 13.3-inch HD 1366x768 QHD 2560x1440 OLED touchscreen. Storage 180 GB 512 GB SSD. Price $1,049.99. Positive points: gorgeous OLED screen and improved hinge-forward design. Negative points: unexpectedly dense and short battery life. Unlike most laptops its size, the Alienware 13R3 bears a hinge-forward design. By moving the heatsinks usually located beneath the keyboard to a distinct bulge that projects outward behind the screen, it allows for a thinner, 0.81-inch, 0.22 cm chassis. Unfortunately, this means you won't find many 13-inch laptop bags that will actually suit the Alienware 13R3. Rather, you'll likely have to opt for a 15-inch carrier. The real draw, however, isn't the Alienware 13R3's protruding appendage or even its impressive quad-core, H-class CPU. While you may be tempted by the inclusion of a full-size NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, it's the OLED touch display that caught our attention. The flavorful color gamut puts practically every other laptop on the market to shame. 3. Asus ROG Strix GL502. CPU, Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060-1070, RAM, 16GB DDR4, Screen, 15.6-inch Full HD 1920x1080 IPS, Storage, 128GB 256GB SSD, 1TB HDD. Price, $1,289. Positive points: rocks Full HD gaming and deliciously vibrant screen. Negative point: middling battery life. The Asus Strix GL502 may not boast the most innovative design, swapping out the usual black and red color scheme for one that makes it feel like Halloween year-round. But it's undoubtedly one of the best when it comes to gaming in 1080p. In fact, we were able to crank the settings all the way up in Overwatch without taking a hit below 60 FPS. The battery life is janky, sure, but the screen, performance and onboard sound system more than make up for it. 2. Razer Blade. CPU, 2.6 GHz Intel Core i7-6700 headquarters, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, 6GB GDDR5 VRAM, RAM, 16GB Screen, 14-inch FHD, 1920x1080 QHD+, 3200x1800 IGZO, LED backlit, multi-touch, storage, 256GB 1TB PCIe SSD. Price, $1,899.99. Positive points: impressive battery life and 4K display option. Negative point: fans were loudly underload and limited upgrade options. For many gamers, Ultrabook is a four-letter word, but it doesn't have to be. The first time you get your hands on a Razer Blade, you'll be looking at a battery life of 4 hours and 8 minutes during everyday productivity tasks, or 7 hours and 29 minutes of non-stop video. While you could argue it is skimp as far as graphics are concerned, with the help of a Razer Core external GPU enclosure, you can strap an NVIDIA GTX 1080 to this thing down the road if you want. Plus, with the newly added 4K screen option, you may actually need it. 1. Asus ROG Zephyrus GX501. CPU, Intel Core i7, Graphics, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080, 8GB GDDR5X VRAM, RAM, 16GB, Screen, 15.6-inch FHD, 1920x1080 anti-glare, wide view 120Hz panel with G-Sync, storage, 512GB M2 PCIe X4 SSD. Price, $2,299. Positive points: astonishingly powerful and innovative and quiet cooling. Negative point: laughable battery life and poor keyboard and ergonomics. The Asus ROG Zephyrus GX501 couldn't have come at a better time. It's made possible by NVIDIA's Max-Q technology, which the company promises will make laptops both thinner and faster simultaneously. That this laptop can exist at all is a feat, especially considering that its closest competition from Alienware is thicker and nearly twice as heavy while still clocking in with inferior benchmark results in some areas. Though its battery will only last you 2 hours max, negating any hopes of truly portable gaming, the Asus ROG Zephyrus GX501 is ultrabook-esque in its design and gaming PC-like in its performance. Thank you for your watch. If you like this video, please subscribe us and enjoy.